You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Oh, look out, Dino. I'm telling you, we got some good stuff to get to today, my man.
Yes, let's do it.
Gosh, we got tons of football. I'm looking at this thing. It's like football everywhere. It's crazy.
What we've been waiting for.
We're going to talk a lot about the Dolphins, what's going on there, how you feeling about the team, what's the latest, got some injuries, trade rumors, all that kind of stuff. We got some finality on D. Wade. Is he staying? Is he going? Is he done? Riding off into the sunset? We'll let you know what's up with that. Derek Jeter has got a new strategy for the Marlins.
Right away.
Okay.
All right, I'll hang on to hear what that is.
Do we have a name for the Miami Soccer Club? Oh, man, and that's just scratching the surface. A little bit of Hard Knocks last night, too. We'll get to that coming up. So, dang, we'll start with the big stuff. Dolphins camp, it's all over. If you wonder what it means, I mean, it's not much. It's just, they have, like, sleepovers. It's kind of like, they go to summer camp.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like a sleepaway camp. It's really what it is, to get everybody together for a couple of weeks. I can't believe it's over already. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess all it just means is maybe a little bit of separation. They all stay in a team hotel, and so now, finally Tannehill gets to go home and see his hot wife.
That's correct.
That's kind of the big difference going on right now. But, yeah, how they divide it up, yeah, I mean, is there anything really different other than that? I don't know, from the day to day.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, for what Adam Gase was saying, that's the way he put it. He's like, basically, it's the same schedule. It's just that they're not all staying at a hotel together anymore.
I'm trying to get a read on, like, okay, the people who are covering the Dolphins, Adam Gase, how you feeling about the Dolphins? Are you feeling about what you thought? Are you feeling more optimistic, more pessimistic about this season based on it? And look, I don't want to come off like,
What?
I'm just getting a weird feeling.
Really?
Everybody says it's okay. Gay says it's okay.
Okay.
Sports reporters seem to say it's okay.
All right.
I just don't know. There's a couple things that kind of concern me with it. One, just Tannehill to the receivers seems like a little bit of a mess. That seems like a mess. Devontae Parker, who knows what's going on with him? There's even trade rumors surrounding this guy. He's got a broken finger on his hand. He's not going to be practicing. Might be missing the season opener against the Titans. 1. So where is he going to be? He wasn't good before he broke his finger. They were saying they had chemistry issues. It was going on. You got Amendola that they're putting in there. He's new to the whole team, to the system, trying to get everything done. Right there, Gesicki, yeah, he's got freak athleticism, can catch anything around it, but can't block. It just, I don't know, man. That part worries me. And if you're saying, okay, the receiver's going to be spotty, I think. It just doesn't seem. I mean, you're not talking about a Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown situation.
Well, no.
Where you've got 2 to 3 solid receivers and you're just picking up where you left off. I mean, you are piecing this thing together basically from scratch. And a Devontae Parker that just hasn't been bringing it. And the one guy that maybe you felt the best with is now with the Browns.
Jarvis.
Yeah. So I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I reading the receiver situation for the Dolphins the wrong way? I mean, you're more of a Dolphins guy than I am.
I wouldn't say you're reading it the wrong way, per se.
Am I being too hard on the receiver situation for the Dolphins? And is that not a big deal?
I would
all the way
say,
from tight end to slot receivers to your flankers, everybody. It just seems like a little bit of a hot mess right now. And I know, you still got a little bit of time left.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit of time, yes.
That's my initial, I don't know.
You don't like what you're seeing. You don't have a good outlook on it.
Well, I just don't know how it could be good. I mean, I'm not hearing anything good at all. I was hearing bad about Devontae Parker, and now you're sliding Albert Wilson,
yes,
guy who's just coming in. I mean, there's potential there, but I mean, that's the one thing about the quarterback receiver game is getting on that page, getting a lot of good reps, speaking the same language, knowing where they're going to go. That's what makes. I mean, it's so precise in the NFL. You got to have that. It doesn't seem like the Dolphins had that. Am I wrong? Am I reading this wrong?
I wouldn't say you're 100% wrong.
Okay.
What I will
but you
say,
feel a lot better about it than I do.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Because I'm hearing a lot of good things about
And tell me why I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong, too.
Why is he going to walk right in and he and Tannehill are going to be great and on the same page? And then is it Albert Wilson's job now if he comes in, or is it Devontae Parker's when he comes back? how close is that competition now? And then
yeah.
they're saying the Dolphins supposedly are saying that, oh, no, wait, we're not going to be trading Devontae Parker. But did the Dolphins not say the exact same thing about Jarvis Landry?
They sure did. Yes.
So do you believe him, or do you think maybe, okay, he's got a broken finger, the chemistry wasn't good already? Should we, we got a couple other pieces we might need. If Albert Wilson comes in and makes the most of this opportunity, wouldn't you say, why don't we keep Albert Wilson, bye-bye Devontae Parker, and pick up another piece that you need at the Dolphins? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong about that at all.
Okay.
And I don't believe the Dolphins, or quite frankly any organization in any major sport, when they say that they're not going to trade somebody.
Well, they just already proved, what did we go back 2 months?
Yes.
Where they were completely lying about that one.
And the next day, Jarvis Landry was gone.
Yeah.
So, of course, you never believe those types of reports. Now, I will say that I believe them in that it won't be before the season starts. I could definitely see Devontae Parker having a Jay Ajayi type of situation where he's traded midseason.
Yeah, okay.
Like it was last year. Devontae Parker is not that good. Like, newsflash for Dolphins fans and anybody thinking about taking him in fantasy football.
First-round pick.
He's a bust. I'm going to say it right now.
Okay.
I know third year is your make-or-break year when it comes to guys who are in the league. I'm calling it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Before he actually officially starts his third year, Devontae Parker is a bust.
Okay.
Because now he's going to miss the first game with that broken finger.
Yep.
When he comes back, they're going to try to rush him back. Now, depending on how Albert Wilson plays, I've heard good things about him. So they may not need to rush back Devontae Parker. And when he does come back, I don't see him being that much of a factor. He just hasn't been a factor in his first 2 years, and I don't see why, at the wide receiver position, of all positions, why all of a sudden in the third year you're just going to set the world on fire. I don't see it.
You feel better about the Dolphins receiver situation because you don't believe in Devontae Parker anyway.
No,
Okay.
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't
So-
think he was going to be a factor anyway.
Albert Wilson, you're like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Throwing Albert Wilson, I'm good.
Bring him in there. Kenny Stills is going to come back from that ankle eventually.
Eventually, but
Before
he's
the season
missing.
starts.
But don't you think he's missing valuable reps that you need right now?
That one I'm not as concerned about with the
Okay.
reps and the chemistry because him and Tannehill have already established some of that. And,
Okay.
before Tannehill got hurt, he was already throwing to Kenny Stills a lot. So they already
Amendola's
kind
going to
of-
be fine. He's apparently going to be the slot
Yes.
receiver.
Yeah, he's
Feel
gonna
okay
start.
with that. No
Sure.
concern there. They're going to pick up. They're going to go.
Yeah, he's playing with Tannehill now. He's still out there. So, that would be the one that would concern me. If
Okay.
Amendola got hurt and he didn't come back to week one, they need some time to mesh because they never played together.
So you think the Dolphins have enough targets if you're looking at Stills, Wilson, Amendola, and then Gesicki at tight end?
I like it.
And you're cool with it?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? You won me over.
There you go.
You made me feel better about the Dolphins
Yes,
situation.
got it.
I'll give you that. Linebacker. You feel good about this? Jerome Baker, Raekwon McMillan, who was it the first play of his NFL career on a kickoff, right?
Right.
Okay. So really, it's his rookie year.
Yeah.
Really. It
to be
is.
fair.
Okay. And then Kiko Alonso. Okay, I feel good about that.
That's
but
our guy, yeah.
2 out of 3.
If McMillan can come out
Yeah.
and be the guy they thought he was going to be before his
Yeah.
season ended last year, then they could end up being pretty solid. Linebacker was one of those areas of concern. As defensive line is the biggest area of concern coming into the season with Sue out and really just not having a lot of depth there.
Yeah.
Which I think they made a move on that actually. The Dolphins.
Minka Fitzpatrick looks like he's going to be busting through on the first team, but at slot
Yes.
corner. And the question is, putting him at that position, how much can he move? Is he going to be as versatile and be able to move as much as you want him to in that position?
Yeah, I don't think it really has that much bearing on where they start Minka because he's such a versatile guy, like you said, and that's why they drafted him. He could end up in slot corner. He can end up at just regular old cover corner. He could put him anywhere. Now, they just needed to list him in a position. So if that's where they want to list him, then by all means. But you're going to see him all over the field. Kendall Langford, that's who the Dolphins signed, defensive line.
You feel good about the running backs?
Yes and no, because Kenyon Drake.
You feel like it's a C right now, don't you? With
Yeah,
Kenyon Drake,
yeah,
you
that's
feel
a
like-
solid C.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel better about the Miami Dolphins receivers or running backs right now?
Receivers, I think.
Really?
Just because, look, I have all the respect in the world and admiration for Frank Gore as a Miami Hurricane guy. I love what he's Hall of Fame
Right.
NFL career. But you can't rely on him to be your every down back, and that's what you might end up having if something happens to Kenyon Drake. Just because he had a good end to the season last year doesn't mean he's going to have this breakout year. Everyone's all over Kenyon Drake right now. I'm not sold. Give it some time. If he has a solid first couple weeks, great. We found a running back. But I'm just not, for me anyway, I'm not 100% sold yet on Kenyon Drake.
You know, the defensive line's been a big question. You know,
Yes.
Sue not there, at least a huge hole for the Dolphins. They pick up Kendall Langford. I don't know if you remember him, but
Sure.
he started off with the Dolphins. He's, bounced around. It's okay. I mean, it's a solid piece in there, I guess. He's a journeyman now.
They did what they had to do. They needed a big body, someone who could play, someone who's familiar with it down here.
Yeah.
And he played his first 4 seasons down here.
Did the Dolphins' defensive line just get better? Do you feel better about the defensive line now?
Yeah. No, I'm good with it. I mean, they didn't get any worse, right? So I guess that's. I'm going to be very optimistic about the Kendall Langford signing, saying they didn't get any worse by signing him.
So coming out of camp and what you know about the Dolphins so far, you feel good about the Dolphins? You feel better than you thought you would, or you feel worse?
Oh, they'll be 6-10. No, I was kidding.
That's what I'm getting at.
I know. Look, and all kidding aside,
You
I
feel like
think
it's a C right now.
overall on this team, I'm going to give it a B-, which might be generous in some people's eyes. But I think the way this team is constructed now, with Ryan Tannehill coming back, finally having a clear-cut shot in Adam Gase's offense, this is a team. I know even some publications have the same thing that could be a sleeper. Don't laugh. Could be a sleeper for a wild card team. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Just a sleeper for a wild card. 10-6 season can get you a wild card in the AFC.
Sure. Okay.
It's possible for them.
You think it's possible?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. But we're
Going-
looking at a mediocre NFL team right now. Yeah, okay. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about D. Wade. Is he going to be back in Miami next year? What could it mean for the Heat if he's here or if he's not? We'll discuss and break it down next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Things got a little bit clearer for the Miami Heat. D. Wade coming back.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
So this is still iffy. I thought this was kind of like, okay, he's like, I'm going to come back. It's all good.
This is literally changing as we speak. I mean, that's how fluid this situation is. So, Dwayne Wade, this is a very confusing situation. Because it came out all over Twitter, all these different reports, not just regular schmoes just writing that, D. Wade's coming back. You had actual publications and blogs out there saying that Dwayne Wade and Miami Heat have agreed to a 1-year contract for, anywhere between the veteran minimum and the tax exemption was like $5 million.
They're talking about it could either be 2.4 for the veterans minimum or the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is
Right.
5.3 million, which is, more than double. So
Well, they were saying that was done, but the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade never actually officially announced anything until about, I don't know, maybe like an hour or so ago, where Dwayne Wade came out on Twitter and said fake news. Said fake news.
I thought it would have been a little bit quick because I think he was just asked the question, 2 days ago? And it was still like, I don't know, if I come back, I'm coming back with the Heat, but
Right.
it wasn't anything that was definite. So I'm like, okay, he was so, why today all of a sudden is bam here? I wouldn't be surprised. I would expect it. I'm going to be surprised more if D. Wade doesn't come back this year.
Oh, no, I agree.
I think he's still got more he wants to do. LeBron's still got excitement around his career, and I think he'd be like going, okay, I want a little bit more of a taste. Like, I think he would like to have, for his final lap, he won a full season in a Heat uniform. He didn't get that last year.
Right.
So I don't think that's the way he wants to go out. I think he wants that victory tour, and he's
Yes.
probably going to take it. He'll probably come out, and that will be part of the announcement. This will be it.
I think so. I think
Because you want that, right? When you go into
Yeah.
every single arena, the last time you're going to play in Boston or in the Garden, you want that standing O.
No, absolutely. And I think he would get that in most arenas because, look, obviously you have somebody like the Celtics
I'd want
and the
that.
Knicks.
I would
Yeah.
want an entire season of someone kissing my ass.
Sure. Look, the Red Sox fans did it for Jeter.
Yeah, when I retire from radio, I'm not going to do what that guy in Cleveland did the other day and just quit in the middle of the show. I mean, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to have a countdown. Like, I want to make this count.
Yes.
I want a full year of people kissing my ass.
Shower you with gifts. What did that
Yes.
guy in Cleveland do? I didn't see that. He quit in the middle of a show.
He's a guy that had been on forever, and he had done music formats, and they finally put him on sports and news talk, and he just came back from a break. He's actually doing the show from his home in Colorado, and it's on a Cleveland station. He's like, I don't care about the Browns. He's like, I don't care about politics. It's like, I can't do this. He's like, I'm done.
No
He's like,
way.
yeah, mid-show.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, mid-show. I'll play the audio for you tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's
that's pretty good.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. I think D. Wade is going to want that. He's 36. It'd be his 16th year in the NBA.
Right.
For the Heat themselves, breaking it down, we were able to talk a couple weeks ago with LeBron. We looked at what the Cavs had done, what the Lakers had done, and when he leaves and goes to teams, you can put a win-loss number with LeBron. If you do the same thing with D. Wade, is he worth any games? I mean, is he worth 5? Is he worth 10? Is he worth 15 for the Heat?
It's low. I would say those first couple numbers you put out between 5 to 10. Yeah, and 10 on the high side because he can still win you some games. You saw last year he took over games.
Well, yeah, the one game you give him that one playoff game where he came out with the 28 points, and I give D. Wade the win on that. But you're right. But I think the one thing about D. Wade is it's the galvanizing effect. It's the fact that you've got the veteran that is there, and he now would have a year of trust and whatever. And if the Heat do wind up keeping Hassan Whiteside and trying to make that happen, now maybe he is the guy that is, if things are not so awesome between Spo and Whiteside, that he can get in there and be like, hey, Spo, look, let me take this. And he's like, I got this. That's where the factor is. It's not his physical abilities on the court. It's his coaching abilities and what he's doing with the younger players.
Yeah, and like you said, his overall presence, just having that guy there. I mean, he's a legend now. I mean, he is. He's the best player in franchise history.
Yeah.
Yes, more than LeBron James because LeBron wasn't there long enough.
Well, you got three trophies.
Right.
Yeah.
So absolutely, he's the best player in franchise history. So to have that presence there is huge. And like you said, too, you want, for the Heat fan, you want to be able to have that guy have one more season for the victory lap. You don't want him coming back midseason from Cleveland and Chicago and all the spots that he was at. Come back, you have a full season under your belt with the Miami Heat. Get a couple more, classic Wade moments maybe. And I think, personally, this is imminent. Because if these reports are out there, it's coming from somewhere. Maybe Wade and the Heat just didn't want it to get out yet for whatever reason. So he has to come out and kind of refute the reports. But now you're seeing that Haslam is on the verge of re-signing with the Heat. If Haslam comes back, Wade is coming back, and vice versa.
Yeah, and I think they're almost like a package thing.
Yes.
I would be surprised to see one or not the other come back.
Yes.
I think it'd be both of them, and I think it'd probably be for that reason. Is D. Wade important enough to the Heat that they either go from being a non-playoff team to a playoff team or a first-round team to a second-round team? Does he have that much effect?
I think,
how much do we celebrate this? Are we going, yeah, or is it just the nostalgia of saying, as a Heat fan, I'm going to like going to games and seeing him do his victory lap?
I think it's more nostalgic than anything. But at the same token, he will help you more in the playoffs. He's more important for the playoffs than he is for the regular season, which is why Cleveland wanted to keep him, to help them in those playoff games because he has those experience. The Miami Heat are a playoff team with or without Dwayne Wade this season. They are a top 8 team in the East, whether he comes back or not. But to have his presence and his experience and, quite frankly, his talent, he still has talent for a first-round playoff series, it would make a difference. It would.
They've got a much tougher East next year, though.
Yes. Yeah, they're not beating Boston. They're not beating Toronto. They're not beating Philadelphia.
Okay, so regardless, you are looking at a repeat of last year this year with the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, the Miami Heat, you have to be realistic here. They're not going to the NBA Finals with this team. They're not beating those teams we just named. It's not going to happen. But if you can make the playoffs and have a nice final run, great. Let's go for it. Let's have some fun. We knew last year when they made the playoffs they weren't going to the finals, but it was still fun. You were still rooting for them to make it to at least the second round and beat Philly. Just wasn't in the cards. And that's going to be the same type of season, and it would be nice to have Dwayne Wade be a part of that one more time.
I was trying to check out the highlights for the Marlins-Braves game.
No.
And the video kept coming up, and I'm like going, all right, why can't I find last night's game? I'm finding the games from 2 nights ago where Acuna's hitting a leadoff home run. Like, where the heck is this video?
And he's riding a 7-game hit streak. Swing and a drive. No. First pitch. No. He has done it again.
Okay. Then I had to realize, okay, I found the right game. He just did it again.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It's Ronald Acuna Jr.
Who is this guy?
Well, what's different is he has been on fire since the Braves moved him to the leadoff spot. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's doing. The numbers are absolutely ridiculous. He's the first player to hit a leadoff home run in 3 consecutive games since Brady Anderson did it for Baltimore back in 1996.
Brady Anderson, there's a name.
You're right, exactly. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was just unbelievable. He broke a Braves franchise record. Now hit a home run in 5 consecutive games, and he's also the youngest player in Major League history to homer in 5 straight games. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing. He's homered in 7 of the last 8 games. He's hitting 358, 12 homers, 25 runs, and 24 RBIs.
Golly.
I mean, this is all since the All-Star break.
That's all from the All-Star break?
Yeah.
Oh, my. What?
Atlanta's on fire. I mean, the team, too, they've scored 67 runs, hit 21 homers in the last 11 games. They're running away with this. And now you got to say, okay, what are the Braves going to do? And, we talked about this yesterday, had that lengthy discussion about didn't feel great about the Marlins' future because you got the Braves sitting there, and they're a very young team. They're a younger team than the Marlins are right now.
Right.
With the Marlins Stars. Yeah, Atlanta's 16 games over 500. First time since they won the division 5 years ago. They're on fire. And the Marlins have lost 13 of 15.
Sure, of course they have.
So, I mean, we're not even looking at the Marlins this year, but it's just like, wow.
They are a team who's getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
You always watch out for those teams who can get hot in mid-August, early September. The Braves are one of those teams right now.
Won 13 of 17.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, they're just absolutely on fire. So who knows?
And the Marlins, quite the opposite.
Somebody did bring something up, and I want to hopefully dive into this tomorrow. It's the effect of Atlanta had a little bit of an issue for signing players illegally, broke in November 2017, and there's some sanctions. And could that possibly affect
I had no idea about this.
the run they'd have? Yeah, so I want to break it down and get a little bit more into that coming up on tomorrow's show. But what do you think about Derek Jeter? Apparently he's going to make the Marlins players learn Spanish.
It's an interesting move. I mean, it's smart because that's the culture down there. I mean, if you're living in Miami, you should probably know Spanish because that's really the predominant language in Miami. So it's smart. It's just not something you normally see.
Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, because they take Spanish players and they want them to learn English. So why not? And you look, I mean, how many Hispanic players are in Major League Baseball?
There's a lot.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I know some people, it's America.
Right. Yes. America. They're not speaking American. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I know. That's how it goes. But you want to be fair.
It's a Jeter move I'm cool with. Yeah. Why not?
You of course learn English because that's the first language of the state that you're now living in. But why not go ahead and learn Spanish too? That way everybody can communicate. What's wrong with that?
A couple more years, they might need Japanese too.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
It's going to be so hard to be a baseball player.
Rosetta Stone in the clubhouse.
I'm taking 4 foreign languages.
Ridiculous.
Coming up here in just a couple of minutes, want to get back into some football. We're going to do that. Hard Knocks, man. What a great show that is.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, and some bad news for Steelers fans. Tell you what's going on next.
Yep, he's here too. It's Kevin's Other Show, right here on 640 The Hurricane.
Yeah, baby, going to talk some Steelers coming up here in a sec.
I just happened to have this on cue when you mentioned Steelers before the break.
That's right, baby. Wiz Khalifa's going to be in town at the amphitheater this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little black and yellow. You'll be able to hear this song going off. You don't know this song all about the Steelers. A little bit of a problem, and I don't get this. Ben Roethlisberger, he knocked out of practice yesterday with a possible head injury, and he's in the concussion protocol. Mm-hmm. How are you hitting your quarterback that hard right now?
Mike Tomlin
preseason camp. I mean, how is this? How does this happen? I mean, and it's not. And if you look at the Steelers, I'm a Steelers guy. They're my number one team. Dolphins are my second favorite.
It's fair.
I don't feel good about I don't feel good about Landry Jones. That's your backup.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about Josh Dobbs, and you got Mason Rudolph, who is your rookie QB. I don't feel good about that either. I mean, you're pretty. I was pretty happy Roethlisberger came back. So I'm like, how do you have enough contact on a QB that he's in concussion protocol on a QB?
It's a great question. It's a great question.
I don't get this.
I don't have a good answer for it. All I know is that Mike Tomlin is more than likely even more stupefied than you are at this point. Like, he must be losing his ever-loving mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Dolphins just cut a player because he cold-cocked the running back.
Right.
I'd be like, dummy, what are you doing? Really?
Apparently, from what I heard about this, because they're kind of keeping it hush-hush, they didn't want to rat out the player who apparently tripped him.
Because it's dumb, yeah.
Yes.
Steelers fans would be hating on it, be like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know, but
You big dummy.
yeah, it's bad, man. Like, how do you give your franchise quarterback a concussion in practice?
Well, this is a guy that already, Roethlisberger, until they drafted Mason Rudolph, was almost like, well, I don't know, maybe I won't be back. And you're like going, okay, this guy's wishy-washy about he was coming back. You throw a concussion into the preseason, he might be like going, you know what, guys, maybe this isn't for me.
There's another guy. We talked about Dwayne Wade earlier in the show. Is Big Ben another one of those guys? Is this his victory lap?
I wouldn't be, no, I don't know, maybe. You know what? He was all out, and then they drafted Mason Rudolph, and then he was pissed off, and he's all back in.
Right, that's true.
But you throw a concussion into the mix, and I don't know, maybe it knocks him back the other way. I don't know. Either way, as a Steelers fan, I don't feel good about, like, hey, let's just turn the keys over to whomever. So,
I mean, look, granted, it's the second week of preseason, so he's going to be cleared by the start of the season, but he's just not something you like to see.
No.
Especially he's not a spring chicken exactly anymore.
No.
So, oh, boy.
Boy, it's interesting taking a look at what's going on. The Steelers' big rival, the Cleveland Browns. Everybody was so high on them and the moves that they made in the offseason and
Man,
the
I wish
drafts. And like, oh, my gosh, the Browns are turning around. I mean, I had some people, I've seen some people prognosticating an 8-8 season from 0-16.
Whoa.
I mean, that's a big leap, right?
Yeah, I would
That's a
say.
big leap. So, you're like going, okay, well, maybe the Browns have got it. And then you start watching Hard Knocks, and the team looks like a mess to me. From what I've seen, I mean, they look like a complete disaster. And I even saw this wasn't even on Hard Knocks yet. Did you see Jarvis Landry getting along so well with his new teammates? He got into a big old fight, threw a football off a dude's helmet.
I did see that, yeah.
I mean, I know these kind of little things happen, but I mean, you add that to everything else that's going on. If you've not seen Hard Knocks on HBO featuring the Cleveland Browns, it all started, we know about the Corey Coleman thing, which, the receiver that was a first-round draft pick and another one. I mean, man, you got to knock this team for the awful picks that they've been making. And you got to see a little bit about what was going on. It was kind of funny, too, because Corey Coleman just there's no effort going on. Aside from, what is going on, really the only person who's given any effort is Jarvis Landry.
Right? I mean, you saw from that first episode where
he's the only anybody's got any heart, and he was yelling at the receivers.
Yeah, he chewed them all out.
Right. And you can see why Corey Coleman just completely dogging it. It's what they showed last night on Hard Knocks.
Come on, Corey! In the red zone, making a mental error. Giving up on a ball on the inside. It's in your chest.
It's written in my chest.
Oh.
That's about what it's been.
Yeah, and he's talking back to the coaches.
Yeah, you don't talk back to your coach.
Right. Especially when you're like dogging it out there.
Right.
I think he looks around, he's distracted, doesn't run. One of the goals, he looked like he was running 5 miles an hour. We just got to get his brain right.
Oh, man.
Corey.
Uh-oh.
To me, this is what's really telling.
Uh-oh.
This is Hugh Jackson. He walks into Hugh Jackson, the Browns head coach.
Yes.
Like, this guy has no backbone. I mean, he's almost kind of like, listen to him. I mean, he's not. Well, here he is. It's like Corey Coleman wants some answers because he's been, bumped down to second team because he's dogging it. And he's like going into Hugh Jackson's office and like, hey, what's up, dude? Hugh Jackson's not like going, well, give me some effort. Now, listen to how he responds on this.
What's happening, sports fan?
Why am I running second team? Crazy to me.
Well, you get Todd in it, go ask Todd.
Go ask Todd.
Go ask Todd. He's pushing it off on the offensive coordinator.
Todd Haley, yeah.
Go ask Todd.
You know what? And you know what's funny about that,
what
too?
are you doing, Hugh?
That's a good point. It's a good point because if you saw last week's episode, they were having like a coaches meeting.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackson actually said to the coaches, hey, look, I appreciate all your opinions because they were trying to tell him let's do things differently with some of their schemes. And he said, this is my ship. I'm running it. And we're going to do things my way. So then he goes and throws Todd Haley under the bus like that. Why not just address the situation?
Don't talk to me. Talk to Todd.
Wow.
And then if you don't want me to play, why won't y'all just trade me?
Yeah, the Corey Coleman experiment is over in Northeast Ohio. Within the last hour, the Browns have confirmed they're sending the 2016 first-round pick to the Bills.
You got a 7th-round 2020 pick.
2020, bro. You know what that's like? That's like saying, here, you don't need your type bro.
And then that's players responding to it, be like going, I mean, they're like, what do? We just threw away a first-round draft pick for 7th round? I mean, that's just saying, get away. Like, okay, what do we, like, we got nothing for that.
Yeah. No, I'm glad they actually showed some behind the scenes on that because when that came out last week or week and a half ago, whatever it was, when that trade happened, I was like, what? Corey Coleman for a 7th round pick? What are they doing? But now I kind of see, and they just wanted to get rid of him. They literally gave him away.
But again, what are you doing? And they got some problems, when he was at Florida, Antonio Callaway.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown some glimpses, but he had problems when he was a Gator.
Right.
And, last night on Hard Knocks, you got to see because, he got pulled over. And it's kind of interesting, too. Did a great job because they showed police dash cam. It's 3 a.m. It's on a Sunday. You got practice on Monday. And they don't even know. They show the practice going on for the Browns practice. And they're like, what's going on, dude? He's dogging it. And they're like, they had no idea he was out till 3 a.m. the night before getting cited for marijuana possession.
Come on, man.
So here they are, Antonio Callaway. They got to sit him down and talk to him and say, come on, dude, get it together.
Get Antonio Callaway. What are you doing, man?
Browns released a statement saying this, quote, "We're aware of the citation and are in the process of gathering more information and will comment further at the appropriate time."
All right, Coach and I, we just found out. And to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed. It's in college football. It's the National Football League. And just to put it out there plainly, you're under the microscope. They want to see you up.
You got talent, but talent ain't everything I'm looking for. I want you to become a man here. I believe you. But if I'm wrong on this one, then I'm gonna have your ass.
Hugh Jackson, tough talk now.
Yeah, he got all tough there, huh?
Tough talk now.
He's got the GM sitting next to him, so now he's all tough.
Yeah, I really, honestly, I think this Hard Knocks might help Hugh Jackson out the door.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's starting to show some of the dysfunction. It doesn't seem like he has control of this team.
No, you're right about that. It really doesn't.
I mean, unless they wind up like an 8-8 team, I think they'd be going, look, I mean, you're what, 1-31 over 2 years, and then we're seeing probably the reason why. We gave you the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was front office that did it to you. Still kind of suck. Des Bryant might be coming in next week.
I was just about to say, just imagine how much better this can get.
I mean, it's a fantastic show. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's very great to watch. But if I'm a Browns fan, I'm not feeling good about my season watching Hugh Jackson in action and the dysfunction that's happening with your receivers.
Oh, I want this so bad. Please, Des, sign with the Browns so we can see this disaster. It would be so good.
Gosh, so good. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on at Maryland. And is it just Maryland? Or is it college football? We'll talk about next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Does college football have a systemic problem of abuse? That's the big question that is going on after what has been happening in Maryland. They had a press conference yesterday, and a lot of people were really impressed, and I think really kind of surprised, too, because what they said in their press conference puts their butt in the crosshairs, without a doubt, when you walk into a court of law to try to work out this whole Jordan McNair situation. The kid, the linebacker, the lineman that died in June. Here's a little commentary on them talking at the press release about zero tolerance and the move that they made to get rid of Rick Court, who was the assistant athletic director for their sports performance at the university.
Make no mistake, we will not tolerate any behavior from any employee within Maryland Athletics that is detrimental to the mental or physical well-being of our student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
That does not sound good for DJ Durkin, does it?
I don't think so. And, you know, there were some players initially that were sticking up for him, but then there's other talk, too. Jabril Peppers, who played for him at Michigan. He was the defensive coordinator there. I think it was like in 2015, something like that. He said, you know, Durkin was tough, extreme at times, as defensive coordinator, and wasn't great playing for him. And he said the way I would have described it was kind of like bully coaching.
Yeah, you don't want that. And you know what? That makes me think of something, too. I want to kind of clarify something I said yesterday when we were talking about the culture in football and how these guys talk to the players with cursing or demeaning and things like that, where I said, you know, most of that is just football. And most of it is.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual bullying aspect, when a coach does that, you got to have some type of human nature in there. I understand tearing a guy down to bring him back up. But if you're just tearing him down, what's the use? And it sounds like that's what DJ Durkin was doing. And it obviously wasn't there. I never played under the guy. But from all accounts, That's what it sounds like he had going on there, and that's no good. That's not football.
Well, the debate is this unique to Maryland? How many other schools are guilty of this? Or is there a systemic problem all throughout college football where you could really say almost every school is out there and almost every school is abusive? I would hope it's not. And I'm going to give college football the benefit of the doubt. And, what I had said was it is a line, and I think it should be a clear line, I think, between being tough, which you should be. It is a tough sport, and you need to train tough. Smart and tough, which means having trainers that know how to deal with protocol when a player is distressed, knowing how much you can push somebody to still get the most out of them. Because there does come a point, too, where the body goes the other way. Yeah, you're breaking it down. You got to break it down to build it back up. But there is a way, too, you can go with the lactic acid and things like that where it just becomes completely destructive.
Right.
And you start sustaining injuries and, in the case of Jordan McNair, death. So I think there is probably a thick black line between being tough and being abusive. You're talking about Rick Court throwing weights towards players. Some of the things that they're saying. Now, you can, hey, if it's your choice to use profanities, you're just listening to Hard Knocks last segment.
Yes.
And they are. But, maybe it's not necessarily about name calling. Maybe it's not necessarily you're not laying a hand on somebody. You're not hitting somebody. You're not pushing somebody. That's clearly over the line. Throwing things at somebody. Pushing them to a level where they're going to be distressed. His body temperature was 106 degrees when he went to the hospital.
Horrible. When
they called 911. And from all accounts, it was going on. And I think the real problem for DJ Durkin is he was present at that practice. He was there. And that, to me, is ultimately it. And, maybe you could have made a case he wasn't there and the trainers were doing something against what he had set up and the protocols for safety. But him being there, I think that's what and I think it's smart they're still taking the time to investigate. I do like that. I know today with Twitter, everybody wants you to make a rush judgment and just let's blow everybody out quickly. I like the fact to say, look, no, we studied this and DJ Durkin was over the line and there was a lack of control, or he established a culture of bullying here at Maryland that we're not going to tolerate.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me. When the story came out, I'm like you, where kind of the same thing with Urban Meyer. Let's reserve judgment. Let's find out the facts.
Yeah.
Now, in the Urban Meyer case, we're finding out more facts that kind of show that Urban Meyer shouldn't be fired, at least in my opinion.
Sure.
In this case, we're finding out facts that tell me that DJ Durkin should not only be fired, but barred from ever coaching football at any level ever again. Because he is there. This kid had a body temperature, like you said, of 106 degrees. Kev, he had a seizure.
Yeah.
And nobody called 911 for an hour. My son, who is 3, would call 911 in that situation.
Yeah.
How do you, as a head coach and team trainers all around you, how is no one taking care of this kid? Because that's what he was. He was a kid. And now he's dead because you didn't care enough to do something about it.
It sounds, from the initial reports, completely negligent.
Yes.
Now, I think the question for every single college football program out there, and I'm sure every single athletic director is meeting and talking with them and saying, do we have the protocols? Are we doing the right thing? Who's sitting here watching? Do we have a way to take body temperatures? When something, and unfortunately it takes a death or something like this, to put new procedures in to make sure to say, look, after running so long, do we have to do a body temperature check? Do we have to do this, do that? I think there are still going to be issues, and you'll still have deaths in football because sometimes, you see those situations where somebody had an undiagnosed medical condition.
Right.
And I think that's different. I think people need to realize that's it. But this does not at all seem like the case with Jordan McNair. This was just gross negligence.
Yes.
And hopefully it's relatively unique to Maryland, any program that's even close to that. And look, I get the understanding it's competitive. You got the University of Maryland that is competing in the Big Ten East. DJ Durkin, who has been around 2 of the other programs, used to coach with Urban Meyer, has been at Michigan, knows what he's up against, feeling the pressure. I mean, he's got Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. That's who he's playing.
Yeah.
The only break he gets is Rutgers. So he's got a lot of competition against him. So I understand trying to drive as hard as you can, but there's a right way to do it, clearly, and a wrong way. And this was his first time running his own program. He's always been a coordinator. And you think he is done if he's fired forever, like no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator, or is he just done being a head coach?
If I was an athletic director, I wouldn't go near this guy.
He's going to be so toxic.
Absolutely. Because you are directly involved in negligence that caused a player's death.
And just what Jabril Pepper said when he was at Michigan as a coordinator.
Right.
He seemed like he was a bully.
Yeah.
What coach would want to take him on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he's done. I think he gets fired and he's done.
Yeah, I think they'll do the full investigation, but I think DJ Durkin is done. And they've got a tough run at it, too. They start off with Texas at home. So that's the tough part. And you feel for everybody in that program that is like, wow, not only have you lost one of your teammates and you got to deal with that emotionally, but then you still got to somehow compartmentalize and somehow think of football.
Yeah, this could ruin their entire college season. I mean, this can ruin an experience for some guys unless they can rally around. Once they get rid of this jerk, they can rally around each other and whoever they bring in as the head coach, and maybe they can put together a good season for each other and in remembrance of the young player who died.
Yeah.
So it's sad.
Well, anybody want to know what Miami's going to call their soccer team? Apparently a couple logos were posted at the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office this morning for Miami International Club de Football, MMXX. Those Roman numerals at the end for 2020, noted by the first year of play.
Hint, hint.
It sounds like that's going to be the name of the team, Miami International Club de Football.
You got to check out this logo. Maybe we'll send that out on Twitter on Kevin's other show. It's pretty sweet. If they actually go with this.
So you're liking it. You
I
like
do.
the name. You like everything going on with it.
Yeah, the name is fine, but the logo, I think the logo is the best part. It's very nice.
Check it out. Follow us on Twitter. You can find the podcast under the same name. Or go to the KVJ Show to watch this thing on YouTube.
You listened to him on the KVJ Show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.